Hello Stampers! I'm playing once again with my Dragonfly Garden stamp set from Stampin Up. This was out on my desk from another project and I thought, well, I might as well use it again today because I had this idea floating around in my head. So I wanted to get it on paper before it was lost. You ever do that? You come up with this great idea you think, and next thing you know, if you don't put it right on paper, it's gone for good. So here's my creation today. I decided to do this abstract piece. I just love this color combination, so I went ahead and put it down on paper, and I think it turned out wonderful. It's nice and bright, and this card is definitely all occasion. You can just send it for about anything, I think. So here we go. We're going to start with a basic white panel, and this is 3.5 by 4.5, and all the dimensions for this card are down below this video. Just click show more and you'll see them down there, along with the links to the products that will take you to my online store where you can shop 24/7. So we're going to do some direct to paper here. And I'm going to start out with Tahitian Tide. This is a beautiful blue. It's one of the new ink colors from Stampin' Up. And when I do direct to paper, I like to use the short end of the ink pad. And when I use it, I'm going to use it at a tilt. And you don't want to do this flat, because if you do this flat, you pull it across, you'll have just one big blob of ink. So I like it to look scratchy and streaky, and that's what you're looking for. I'm going to turn my paper a little bit just so it's easier to work on, and we're going to bring this in and we're going to lift up about halfway. So I'm going to start putting this in and I'm going to lift this pad up about halfway, and when you get down to the bottom, you'll just have to move your hand and work on it that way. Now no two of these will look alike, right, because you are streaking this, of course. So there is Tahitian Tide. I'm going to go a little darker, and so we're going to bring in another new ink color, Orchid Oasis. This is another beautiful color. It's a purpley, tends to lean towards the blue side, but it is stunning, especially with Tahitian Tide. So we're going to do that same thing, only I don't want to cover up all that Tahitian Tide. I don't want to cover up all that Tahitian Tide, so I'm just making some streaks on here. And if you want to, you can start using a corner if you find you want to just put like a small stripe or something. We're going to get darker yet, and we're going to go to Night of Navy. This you have to be very careful with, otherwise you're just going to wipe out everything that you've did. Less is more with this dark color, but this dark color really helps brighten up your other colors, that contrast between those lights and darks. So we're going to put a little bit of this in there, and I think that's good. Now we want to go to the lighter side of our project here, and I'm going to do that same direct to paper, only I'm going to bring in Mango Melody. This is a nice bright yellowy orange color. And I'm going to turn my paper so that I can bring it in this way, and I'm going to bring it in, and you want to bring some of that into, oh, looks like I need some ink. I probably should have inked it before I started this project, but I'm going to add just a little ink along this edge and rub it in. It's nice that we can get re-inkers for all these colors. See how much better that streaks in there. There we go. So there is the Mango Melody. I'm going to get darker with our Cajun Craze. And again, I'm just going to make some nice streaks with this. There we go. I don't worry if I make like these hard lines here. That doesn't bother me at all. This is an abstract piece, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'm going to go to Blackberry Bliss next, and I'm going to take this floral stamp from the Dragonfly Garden stamp set. And I'm going to stamp it all along this edge just to bring in that color. Now I'm doing this like willy-nilly here. So there's that. And that was Blackberry Bliss. And if you find that it looks a little dark to you, you can always go back with one of your other colors. I think I'm going to put some more mango in here. This Mango Melody. There we go. You know, it's your project. You do whatever you feel. You be you. Okay, so we have that. Now, this looks pretty dark, but realize it's going to dry at least 2 shades lighter. So here's my original, and it will get somewhat lighter. So don't worry if it's too dark. So now and plus if it's darker, your dragonflies are going to just pop against this background. All right, so I have a scrap piece of paper here, basic white, and I'm going to stamp my dragonfly 2 times with Mango Melody on this scrap paper. There's once. And really all I need to worry about is getting the body on here. So I stamped it twice, even though I stamped the wings over each other. That doesn't matter because we're only going to be using the actual body, not the wings. So I'm going to set that aside. Then I'm going to bring in Cajun Craze and the Dragonfly stamp. Now you can stamp these any way you want to on this card. I decided to have them following each other in an upward motion. So I'm going to stamp them one here and one here at the bottom. Now that was Cajun Craze. And I used Cajun Craze just so I could see where the wings were. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to make them opaque with I'm going to bring in a white gel pen. I've did this in another project just a few days ago, but it turned out so nice I decided to use it again. So I'm going to color just on the top of a wing, just coloring it in, and I did half the wing, and then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to smear it to the end, and that gives you a great wing look because it's much wider towards the body, and then it gets lighter towards the tip of the wing. It almost gives you like a motion look. Now you can do this a couple times. It depends on how white you want your wings. So there's that one. And now I'm going to do the same thing to this bottom one. And you're just going to work one wing at a time. Don't try to put it on, a couple wings and then wipe a couple of them off, because you need that gel pen to be good and wet when you go to smear it with your finger. And it really shows up in these dark areas. There we go. And I'm going to go back through and add some just plain white where it connects to the body. I want to make sure that I have it close enough to the body that the wings will look connected when we put our Mango Melody body on them. I just love this image. So fun to work with. Okay, so there's that piece, and we're going to set it aside. And we're just going to cut out these bodies. I'm just going to grab a pair of paper snips. And I don't worry about going over every little ridge on the tail of the dragonfly or anything like that. I'm just going to quickly cut it out. There we go. There is one body that I cut out, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing to the other one. So we need two. Just try not to cut off any of the body. Let me get rid of some of this paper here that I'm working with. So I'm using the stamp set again. Sometimes I just find things on my desk and it's like, oh, I just want to do one more thing with it before I put it away. And Dragonfly Garden was the one that was there today. It's such a lovely stamp set. It's in the annual catalog right now. It was a returning stamp set. So now I'm going to take just these little bodies. I'm going to put some glue on them. This multi-purpose glue. And add it over that image. Here we go. Not sure does make that dragonfly pop. Now this one at the bottom, you may not have put the whole thing on there. So you can just snip it off even with the bottom of the cardstock. Now I'm going to get my other piece here. Glad I didn't lose it. Sometimes these little pieces that I cut out, you cut them out and where do they go? They just take off. Never to be found again. Okay. So there's the bodies to our dragonflies. Don't they just pop against that great background? So I wanted to just add little eyes, so I'm just taking a fine point marker, just putting a dot for each eye. And try to keep them even, otherwise they start looking kind of crazy. But there is our panel. Now we're all ready to start putting things together. I'm just going to flip my inky paper over here. Keep everything nice and neat. Okay, so I have a piece of Mango Melody here, and this is 3 5/8 by 4 5/8. It's just 1/8 larger than our main panel. And I'm going to hear it on, and when I do, I'm going to have it flush with the right side and the bottom. Okay, I think that looks nice. Now I have my main card base, and it is Mango Melody, and it's 5.5 by 8.5. I folded it in half to create a quarter card. And inside I have a Starry Sky panel that's 4 by 5.25. And then I have a Mango Melody panel that is 3 3/4 by 5. So on the front is a Starry Sky panel that is 4 by 5.25. Now I'm just going to add my main panel here, and I'm just going to center it on there. Add some love. There we go. And just as a little embellishment, I cut some 1/2-inch squares. This one looks a little long, so if they look a little wonky and a little long, just trim them up a bit. There we go, that looks a little more square. And we're going to put these on our card base here. And I'm going to put them on so they are diamond shaped. There we go. There's one. Two. I'm just leaving just a little space in between them. There we go. And I think I just want a little. There we go. Here's our little diamonds. No, nothing fancy, but it just adds a little something. And now I want to add just a little bling. And so I'm bringing out the opal rounds. And these are really pretty iridescent dots. And they're adhesive backed. So I'm just going to add one to each of those little diamonds. Just to finish off our project here with a little bling. And there we have it. There's today's project. I hope you enjoyed it and that you feel like getting inky today. I hope you try this project. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye.